Good day everyone, I'm Anna Marie Ambelolong. Today I will be discussing about the Chapter 2 Authentic Assessment and Assessment of Process and Product. The nature and extent of learning outcomes to be achieved at different levels of the general education system and the means through which they should be achieved is usually articulated in the curriculum or education program. Authentic assessment. It evaluates the students' collective skills and abilities to perform and demonstrate the task in real-world situation. So for them to determine how much they have learned with meaningful application. For example, instead of weighing a student's performance against a standardized benchmark, the students execute tasks using the skills and knowledge from the course. So it is all about getting the students to solve real life situations by applying the skills and the knowledge they have mastered. And this involves the performance test and portfolio assessment. So when we say a performance test, so it is a measure which often make use of manipulative materials to develop student skills and abilities. So in other words, authentic assessment occurs in the learning environment. But the best way to visualize the concept is to compare it with a simple real life application. So examples of authentic assessment activities are first is doing science experiment, so conducting social science fields research, writing stories and sports, reading and interpreting literacy piece, solving mathematical problems that have real world implications, performing particular skills, competencies, simulation or role playing, exhibiting and displaying submitting portfolios and submitting original projects. So for authentic activities, we discuss about the simulation. One of the activities is the simulation or the role playing. So when we say role playing, it is a type of experimental learning where the students takes on a specific role or character in a well-defined learning context. So unlike simulation games, role play places students in distinct roles. So the students may be asked to imitate characters in an unfamiliar context. So in simulation games also, uh, sometimes the teacher creates a case study with different scenarios mirroring the specific topic or subject matter discussed in the class. So students are then assigned different rules within the case study or asked to play different characters within the scenarios. So the students get copies of the case study before the simulation game. So this way they fully internalize the rules and have access to data background. So background information and the description of the characters they will represent in the game. So now, the characteristic of authentic assessment. So first is authentic assessment requires the students to perform meaningful tasks in real world situation. So second is it promotes the development of HOTS or HOTS because the evaluators including the self and the peer have to think wisely and precisely the rating most appropriate to the students if performance to excellent down to the poor. So third is the It tenders direct evidence of application and construction of knowledge and skills acquired. So, number four is it includes portfolio collections of entries. It demonstrates the application of a particular knowledge and skills. Number six is it fosters role playing of the lessons learned, learned by the students, which serve as show window to them. So seven is it identifies performance of students' acquired skills and expertise. So it accesses directly holistic project by multiple human judgment like self, peer, subject teacher, and teacher advisor. So number nine is it trains the students to evaluate their own work as well as their peers. Number 10 is it is designed on criterion references measure rather than norm reference measure. So the strength and weaknesses of the students have been identified rather than compare students. So compare students' performance with other students. Assessment is one of the critical components of classroom instruction. So people within the educational community have different ideas regarding the implementation of assessment strategies. So there are two general types of assessment. These are traditional and authentic assessments. So first, we will discuss the traditional before the characteristics later on. So traditional assessment refers to the conventional methods of testing, which usually produce written document such as quizzes or exams. So standardized tests, most state achievement tests, and high school graduation examination are also examples of traditional assessment. So while authentic assessment, it call upon the examinee to demonstrate specific skills and competencies. So that is to apply the skills and knowledge they have mastered. So a form of assessment is which students are asked to perform real world tasks that demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills. About the distinctions between a authentic assessment and traditional assessment. So first, authentic assessment is personalized, natural, and flexible, relevant to the student's level of difficulty, so skills and abilities. So in traditional assessment, it is impersonal and absolute, owing to uniformity of tests without regard to the skills and ability of the students. Second is authentic assessment is fair because skills and abilities are appropriate to the learners. Traditional assessment is unfair since learners are forced to accept the context of the test even if these are inappropriate to them. Third is authentic assessment gives the students a student self and peer is classmates. So the chance to evaluate their own work and work of their classmates respectively. So in traditional assessment, only the subject teacher evaluates the performance of the students, and there is a tendency of subjectivity. So fourth is authentic assessment identifies the strength and weaknesses of the student's skills and abilities. Traditional assessment compares the performance of students to others. The fifth is authentic assessment promotes good rapport or bonding between the teacher and the student due to their mutual understanding. So, while the traditional assessment has poor relationship between teacher and students, caused by the impersonalized and absolute test, since the purpose is to compare the test results of students to others. So number 6 is authentic assessment develops the students' responses because uh, they are made to perform the learning tasks in a real world situation, while traditional assessment requires the students to choose the option prepared by the teacher. So number 7, authentic assessment gives the students freedom to choose evidence of a performance. In traditional assessments, the teacher prepares the task and students have to respond on what is asked on the test. Number 8, authentic assessment make use of performance tests in a real world situation and portfolio assessment. While traditional assessment involves paper and pencil tests in which the students are required to choose the correct answer among the option prepared by the teacher. So it says there that authentic assessment captures aspect of students' knowledge. So deep understanding, problem solving skills, social skills, and attitudes and that are used in a real world or simulation of a real world situation. Uh, it encourages students to reflect in their own learning in both depth and breadth. So, in traditional assessment, also, it is the most common way because it provides valuable information about the students' learning. So, tests given to the students by the teachers to measure how much the students have learned. So we have here the example of types of example. So first is the multiple choice test. Next, short answer test, true or false test, and last one is the essay. So that are the examples of traditional assessment.